Okay, so we're just going to make a quick video on Forza Horizon 3, the performance and things like that. I'm playing it a little bit early because, to be quite frank with you, I'm a complete idiot and I went and got the $100 edition. It's called the Ultimate Edition, so you have a couple days early access. Complete nonsense. Oh, and by the way, just to quickly touch and go on that subject, when you get the Ultimate Edition, you get something called the VIP Pass and all these other goodies. When it comes to the VIP Pass, it doesn't seem to be active, okay? I'm not getting double my spins. The spins is a jackpot type of slot machine where you pull it every time you level up and you get double what the normal person would get with the standard edition. That's not coming into play at the moment. There's a couple of things I'm not sure if maybe I have to wait until the 27th when the game actually officially releases for everybody in order to get these things. I don't know. Bottom line is, shame on me for getting this fucking edition. But let's talk about, more importantly, the performance, which is why I'm making this video to begin with. Now, before I continue, let me just make it clear. Just because I'm noticing signs of performance issues does not necessarily mean that you're going to. Okay, PCs are not like consoles. You know, we all have different configurations when it comes to hardware and all that other good shit, right? Anyways, when I first booted up this game, it actually chose the settings for me based on the hardware that I had running in my machine. And so with that said, the settings that the game actually chose for me to play were ultra settings, maxed out completely up and down the line except for MSAA. It defaulted to ×4 MSAA opposed to ×8. I tested this game on a couple of different setups. The recording that you're watching right now was captured while playing on a EVGA 1070 FTW with the Skylake i7 with 16 gigabytes of RAM. There's nothing particularly too fancy going on with this particular setup, but to be quite frank with you, it does not matter what I think about the hardware. The game itself thought or thinks that that's more than sufficient, more than capable hardware in order to run this game at max settings. There is a setting, which I'm not a huge fan of, called dynamic resolution, where the game is essentially screwing around with your resolutions in order to maximize the potential of your performance, frame rate, and things like that. I, like many other PC gamers, want to play at the full resolution that we are choosing, or that our monitors are capable of, whether it's 1080, 1440p, whatever it may be. So with that said, I said to myself, well, you know what, let's just turn that setting on for the sake of performance, for the sake of getting a solid, stable 60 frames per second. And I'm sorry to say that sadly it did not help. It did not help whatsoever, so I went back into the settings. I started to tweak with the usual suspects like shadows. I turned that down to high. I did a couple of different things, including turning down the MSAA to ×2. And unfortunately, it did not seem to help or make a noticeable impact anyways when it comes to stabilizing the frame rate. And because we do live in a generation where it's like, okay, let's get these games out, let's get their money, let's ship it, and then we'll polish it later with updates and things of that nature, I'm sure they're going to optimize this somewhere down the line with some sort of patch and things like that. And I much rather play the video game than make a fucking video about it, but I just felt like it's important to let you guys know what's going on in case you're looking forward to getting this game. And while this game is certainly awesome on all sorts of different levels, and I can deal with it in the meantime for what it is until they actually do address some of these optimization issues, I will say one thing that is troublesome more than anything else, and that is the hitching. It is present. It was present in Forza Apex Beta. Okay, I think Turn 10 eventually did get a handle on it for the most part, but it is also present in this game. I have tested it on 2 PCs and 1 gaming laptop because I have absolutely nothing better to do with my life, and the hitching was present in all 3 different hardware configurations. And in my personal opinion, there's nothing that actually impacts your enjoyment or your gameplay experience more so than hitching or stuttering when it comes to a driving game. For example, say there's some precision driving involved. Thank God this is an arcade type of driving experience and not a simulator, because this would be, in my opinion, much more problematic. But even so, you need to do some precision turning at high speeds. Just imagine you're getting 60 frames per second. You're ready to take the turn, and the next thing you know, right before you're making that turn, the frame rate just completely bottoms out, gets cut in half. And so the only actual countermeasure that you have at your disposal in case something like this does in fact happen, it leads to a spin out or whatever, is to rewind, which I try not to use because you get a better score if in fact you do not use that rewind functionality, and your other option is to actually restart the race. I just want to make it clear, I'm not saying this is a widespread problem where everyone's encountering this thing. What I am saying is that I am in fact encountering this and on more than one PC. And I just thought it was in your best interest to make a quick video giving you a heads up and giving you this information. What you choose to do with it is up to you. Here is some quick footage before I go of what it actually looks like when the game does decide to take a shit in terms of the frame rate. Now look, I'm not trying to persuade you to not buy this game or anything like that. I don't care what you do with your money, that's your business, that's your prerogative. What I am saying is that you might want to consider some of the things I'm saying just in case you do have hardware that either meets the recommended specs or is below it. And while I hate to speculate, I'm going to say one thing. I think the lack of a PC demo was certainly a red flag in my personal opinion in terms of what maybe we could expect in terms of the PC version, but that's neither here or there anymore. I myself am going to do some tweaking, trying to get some better performance at the cost of, unfortunately, visual fidelity, but I can't play a game, especially a racing game, with some choppy ass fucking frame rate, so I'm going to have to make the sacrifice. Anyways, I hope you got something out of this video. I'm now going to make a transition over to that sample footage that I mentioned earlier. So, stay out of trouble, take it easy, and until next time, I'll see you around.
Keep left. In 400 yards, bear left.